right. All right. We are back.
All right, we are back. Welcome to another edition, the August the 15th, 2025 edition of Live Feed Reads.
Yep.
I am Paul Reed, your host, and with me as always is the Ed McMahon to my Johnny Carson, Jason Crawford, appearing live from Tallahassee, Florida.
That's right.
We're a little late because Jason was enthralled with reading my book, The Other Side of the Law, which you can see over his shoulder.
That's right.
If you haven't read it, well, then you're missing out. If you think these broadcasts are fun, entertaining, and exciting, read the book.
Oh, man. Yeah.
All right. So, interestingly enough, I was looking again for a topic for today's conversation,
Mhm.
and I came across one that I think we'll entitle The State University of Florida versus the Little People. And this one is a hot off the press Supreme Court decision on the matter. And so let me bring you up to speed on what we're talking about. When you go to a university, Florida State, University of Florida, FSU, University of Central Florida, you name it, there are several statutes, state statutes, that give them authority to charge service fees, so to speak.
Right.
And it's in the statute, and they have to come up with a contract. So when you sign all those documents at admission, part of those, which nobody reads, who we kidding?
That's right.
But part of those have to do with these fees.
Yeah.
It's an activity and service fee, transportation access fee. Now, I went to USF, so I know they got a little bus tooling around. I think they call it the Bull Run, if I'm not mistaken. And they got a health fee where you can go in. They got a little clinic there, and the athletics fee. Well, we all know what that is. But honestly, it's more, I believe, for intramural sports for the students to play. And you know, people do that. It's very fun. We did. I did basketball and some of the other things, flag football. So they charge you a fee. No big deal. You know, it's probably not an exorbitant amount of money, but if you think about the hundreds of thousands of kids, and I say kids, young adults, whomever, students that go to these, I think there's 11 or 12 schools plus their branches and so forth. We're talking a lot of kids, and we're talking a lot of money.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Very much
So
so.
it's all hunky dory until what?
Somebody gets hurt.
Nope. Until COVID.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah. True.
Until COVID hits. So COVID hits in 2020, and the schools, as everyone knows, said, go home. And not just the schools. I mean, the whole world shut down.
Right.
But the schools and colleges did the same. And so obviously what was happening is kids were still being charged for the activity and service fee, the transportation access fee, the health fee, and the athletics fee.
Oh.
But these services were not being provided.
Right.
Because you couldn't come to campus. So you weren't riding the bus, you weren't playing intramural sports, there were no health fee, you know, on and on. So none of that was happening.
Was there a Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, well, some entrepreneur, young lawyer, old lawyer, or whomever probably had a kid at one of these schools and said, I want some of my money back because you've closed the school down and you're not providing these services. Well, the school says and says, so you've breached the contract. You with me so far?
Yeah.
I'm trying to boil this down so you and I can understand.
Yeah, you're doing great.
Well, the schools say, look, we have sovereign immunity, you get nothing.
Sovereign immunity?
So sovereign immunity basically says this: you can't sue a governmental entity without their permission. That's really in layman's terms. Okay. Now the government can waive sovereign immunity, which is what happens. That's why you can sue the police or you can sue a Heartline, the bus company. So the state of Florida has waived sovereign immunity up to $200,000.
Okay.
So if you get, you know, smoked
Yeah.
by a governmental entity, yeah, you can get 200,000. I don't care if you're paralyzed.
Okay.
Now you can do other things and try to get money, and I'm not going to get into all that. But
Leanne keeps
bottom
interrupting.
line,
She wants to
there's
know.
sovereign immunity, and they're saying to the little
Yeah.
people, the students, you can't sue us.
Okay.
You with me so far?
Yeah, I am. Leanne is
All right.
chomping at the bit. She wants to know where's Millie.
Millie is out there. It's lunchtime,
Okay.
so she's trying to mooch food from the girls.
Got you.
Now, mind you, people, TV land, we're going to go off script a little. Millie, I got in trouble about 4 to 5 months ago when Millie went to the vet. She was a little healthy
Oh no.
because all the girls out here, my staff, were feeding her at lunchtime. Well, positive note, Millie went to the vet a couple of days ago. She lost 1.5 pounds.
Of course. Oh, good.
It's a start.
Good.
But Millie still goes, and I guarantee you these girls are probably still, "We just have a little, have a
Yeah,
little."
yeah, yeah.
So Millie's out making her rounds, and
She's making the
there are four girls. Some are better than others. I think the farther away you get from my office, the worse it
Hey,
gets for me and the better for
at least
Millie.
she's doing exercise, right?
Fair enough. All right, so back to the topic.
Okay.
And is Leanne's on there? You are part of this class action
Yeah.
because she did come home in the spring of 2020.
Okay.
And I'll get to that at the end. Remind me when Leanne came home, what happened to me that ended up with me having surgery on my back,
Okay.
all because of COVID, school shutting down, surgery. But anyway, so
Interesting.
obviously there were lawsuits. There were
Yeah.
lawsuits all over the state of Florida on this issue.
Okay.
One of them was at the University of Florida. And so university, easy for me to say, University of Florida moves for a dismissal based on sovereign immunity.
Okay.
The trial court says, no, we're not going to dismiss it. Your contract is not specific enough to warrant a dismissal. You have to have express, uncontradicted language in the contract for in a breach of contract to waive sovereign immunity. And the trial court says, this isn't it. Nope, not dismissing. Well, they appeal to the First District Court of Appeal.
Okay.
And I'm not going to go into it, but there's a case called Pan Am, Southern Road Builders. And it's a case that was decided by the Supreme Court back when. And the First District said, trial court, you're wrong. There's statutory language and so forth that deals with this issue. The University of Florida et al. Universities have not waived sovereign immunity. So little people, you're out.
Okay.
All right. Well, little people, lawyers, students say, we could be talking hundreds of millions of dollars here. Literally, think about how many kids for charge of service fee,
Yeah.
all of these universities. So there's a lot of money.
Yeah.
We're not going to let it go.
Okay.
So they appeal to the Florida Supreme Court, which heard the case, or I should say, heard the case back when and made its ruling July 17th of this year.
Okay.
A month ago.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So this is where we play Jason. What happened?
Yeah. Okay.
This is where Jason comes in. I say, Jason, did the Supreme Court agree with the trial court in that the universities have sovereign immunity? And I know you haven't read the statute and so forth. That doesn't matter. It's or do you think that the First District Court of Appeal was right and that the states have sovereign immunity and these people are just out of luck?
I'm gonna. I don't. Yeah, because this really just comes down to how things are worded.
Well, yeah. It's an interpretation of the statute.
Yeah.
It is, but it's kind of sad that, in honesty, that the statute should be clear enough. You shouldn't have to interpret it. I mean, and when you interpret it, where judges disagree, well, that's just a bad statute.
Yeah.
And I'll give you an example. you had sent me a picture of a crash to maybe talk about today, where if you're doing 100 miles an hour or more, it's now a crime.
Mm-hmm.
You don't just get a ticket. You can go to jail for 30 days and this,
Yep.
that, and the other. Pretty clear. There's no interpretation needed.
That's right.
They write these things
Yeah.
where you got to go to the Supreme Court. And mind you, there's contradictory um, opinions out there. So
Sure.
it gets to the Supreme Court because no one knows what the heck's going on. But either way, back to the story. Does the Supreme Court say universities, you're right, you have sovereign immunity, game over? Or do they say little people, you're right, and you can continue on to prove up your damages and so forth and so on? Because remember, it's a class action.
I'm gonna take the realist approach and say that I think well, I think that they sided with giving the university sovereign immunity. That's my thought.
All right. Well, in Supreme Court fashion,
Yep.
they say, well, we don't know.
Oh my word.
We're not sure. Neither one of you are losing today.
No
So
way.
they say, basically, finally, I'm going to read it. It's only
Okay.
a couple of paragraphs. Finally, in connection with what remains to be litigated, we recognize that the first district made passing conclusory comments regarding the authority concerning fees granted by section 1009.24. The parties have likewise presented nothing more than conclusory assertions regarding the scope and import of those statutory provisions.
Oh, well.
Yet the scope and import of those provisions is of fundamental significance. Waiver by contract is this is what the little people are saying. Waiver by contract is dependent upon statutory authorization to contract, and the scope of the waiver is necessarily restricted by the limitations and conditions of the authorization.
That's a lot
Hold
of
on.
a lot of words.
There can be no liability for breach of an obligation undertaken that is made in conflict with the authorization.
Okay.
But we have not here been presented with arguments sufficient to provide a basis for a decision regarding the scope of the authorization granted by section 1009.24.
Wow.
So
Wow.
we do not suggest that the scope of the waiver under the relevant statutory provisions either does or does not preclude claims by Rojas in this case. What the heck does that mean? More importantly, this has to go back to the trial judge to figure out what that means.
So then the trial judge will make a decision, and then they'll review his decision, or?
Well, yeah, what's going to happen? Now, mind you, this has been going on 3 years or more, you
Wow,
know.
dude.
So the trial judge has to go back and interpret 1.009.24, along with, honestly, 42 pages, because I didn't go, 42 pages of other Supreme Court precedent, prior rulings, put all that together and flip a coin.
Wow.
Because no matter what the coin lands on, heads, little people, you're out, or tails, you're in, guess where the case goes next? Back to the first district.
Oh, yeah.
Then they've got to analyze the Supreme Court, the trial court's ruling, decide whether he got it right or wrong.
And then
what?
again.
And it goes back to the Supreme Court, because one side or the other is going to be unhappy.
Right. Right. Jeez.
Now, here's the kicker. Given that the first district has already booted the case and said, we think that sovereign immunity applies, so forth and so on, in my opinion, and we'll find out years down the road if we're still doing live feed reading, the planet's still here, who knows? We'll find out what happens.
Yeah.
But my guess is, once the district court thinks that there's no merit to the case, there's sovereign immunity, they're probably not going to change their mind. Now, having said that, when you go to these district courts and there's appeals, there's 3 judges. right? And you got to get 2 out of 3 to rule, or 3 out of 3, but it has to be a majority. Well, the next time it goes up, these 3 judges, they may have retired, they may have moved on to something else. You may get a different 3 judges, and
Mm,
so forth and so on. So, if it went back to these same three,
jeez.
then I would be confident that they're going to rule sovereign immunity applies. But it may be different judges altogether. But either way,
Paul,
it's an
oh my
interesting
word.
case. Like I said, I think obviously Leanne would get pennies on the dollar, because it's a class action, and really the class action lawsuits make the lawyers
I
rich.
was gonna say,
God bless America, and give you pennies on the dollar. But let's go
yeah.
back. Okay, so that's over. Now,
Okay.
Leanne comes home in, I believe, was it March or April of 2020
Okay.
from Florida State, because they closed it down. I'd have to look. I don't think, yeah, because what? Well, COVID hit, I think, March 1st. Either way,
Yeah.
she came home in the spring, and she brings beautiful little Bailey puppy. Now, she's a mini golden doodle that's not mini and it's not golden, don't look like a doodle.
What is it? A
I
hippopotamus?
don't know, but I paid $1,200 for it.
Oh my word, Paul.
So we didn't get a mini, we didn't get a golden, we didn't get a doodle. But either
Wow.
way, she's a sweetheart of a dog, love to death. But she comes home. Leanne pops in. I'm like, what are you doing? No calling, just comes home. And
Oh.
they shut down the school, and Bailey jumps up in my arms, and I bend over to pick her up. And Bailey is a little healthy at this point. So I feel this muscle basically in my butt cheek, right?
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, okay. So I set her down, and I didn't think much about it. Well, days turn to weeks, turns
Mm.
to months,
Little ache.
turns to epidural steroid
Mm-hmm.
injections, turns to physical therapy. And October 29th, which is mom's birthday, turns to surgery on my low back.
Wow.
So thank you, Florida State, for shutting down your campus.
I never would have had to pick up that damn dog.
I'm blaming Florida State and COVID for my low back surgery on October 29th.
Oh my goodness, if the shoe fits, wear
Yeah.
it.
So anyway, that's
Wow.
true story. That's exactly what happened.
Jeez.
And so that's what I've been chatting for 20 minutes. That's what we have.
Yeah, wow.
It's interesting because again, there's a lot of money at stake.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, I can see the students,
Yeah.
um, point of view. You should have
Sure.
just not charged them, or the next enrollment, don't charge them the next one.
Mm.
But again, I'm sure the university has their point of view, which is, we needed the money for A, B, and C, and to give it back. I don't know. It really
Yeah, I mean that's
doesn't matter.
the
I'm not taking a position. That's just, it was a Supreme Court case. It does affect thousands of
yeah.
either current students, probably not, more likely not prior students, and whether or not they'll get any recompense for the money that was taken for
Yeah.
the service
I mean that is the
provided.
challenge with the kind of educational system and the way that they itemize the transactions and things like that is you never know like, oh, we're itemizing the transaction this way, but then the money comes into a pool and we use it for other things and it's like, oh, well, we need
Mhm.
that money to operate, so of course we're going to charge you that.
Right.
And it's like, but I didn't get that service. And they're like, but that's not what we use the money for in its entirety.
Right.
So that's where that little nebulous overlap or that vague area is where that's where this is all about, truly.
Well, and I agree, and dude, I mean, there's a lot, there are several statutes that really deal with what the money's supposed to be spent for, where
Hmm.
can it be spent, and all of these things,
Yeah.
and heck, I don't do that type of law, thank goodness. I don't know that I'm smart enough, because that ruling by the Florida Supreme Court that I just read to you,
Hmm.
it's like, you know, I you get hit by a car, I'm your man. Dog bites you, I'm your man.
Have
Slip
you?
on a banana, I'm your man.
Yeah.
But this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
no, I'm not your guy.
Do you think this is something where the Florida Accountability for Financial for Finances office will come in? Have you seen that?
No, what is that?
So they renamed the Doge Florida to FAFO, the Florida, I think it's Florida Accountability for finances office or something. So it's
Yeah.
they'll come in and do audits. They've been
Again,
auditing Hillsborough. So
Jason and I are polar opposites. He spends hours on the internet.
I have
I
to.
spend, uh-huh.
I have to. I hate it.
I
I
know.
hate it.
I spend minutes.
I can't wait to get away from it and I don't do it for personal at all anymore. I've completely lost appetite for personal use really for social
Yeah.
media. It's just man, if everybody wasn't there spatting all their opinions and stuff that I have to track and follow, I think I would just be good being done.
All right. Well, that's it.
Oh,
I've got
yeah.
to get back to work.
Same.
God bless America. God bless Jesus. God bless everybody. Because I've had a few signups today, and obviously that means new clients, and
Yeah.
that's what keeps us able to do this. And again, there's 186, 188 hours in a week. Go tell Jesus thank you. It takes 1 hour or less, and he would appreciate it. And I believe you give, he gives back.
There you go. There you go. I appreciate it. Yeah, you guys had a call just before we got on live, so
Yeah,
we'll turn you
yeah.
loose to get back to doing the lawyer thing. Thank you, Paul.
All righty, Jason. Have a good weekend.
You got it. I'll take
All
us
right.
out.
Reed and Reed, it's like having a lawyer in the family.